All right, everybody, welcome to acceleratorzorg.com. Sorry about the lighting. I'm downstairs in my kitchen, and it's a little bit of a bright light, but otherwise you will not see me. So I figured I'd do bright versus not, although who wants to see me anyway, really? You just want to hear me. So let's get started. Sean, everybody, good to see you guys. So as I always do in the start here, I'll announce a couple things. So, Be Modeler, Business Modeler, that is our business. If you think about it, what really are we trying to do to sort of help companies in this space? And it really comes down to everything that companies, they always lack how to effectively quantify strategy execution and facilitate that. So what our business model does is it combines all the financial pieces with the systematic leading measures of your business model that speak to your customer requirements and gives you a performance management system in place to allow you to make the right decisions, enable you as a leader to make the right decisions about your business growth. So, and it all stems from one thing. When you think about business, and what you're trying to do in your business, and this will lead into all the questions today. So when you're trying to scale and grow a business, there's really only one thing you should think about. What is the quality that I'm trying to provide for the market that I'm selling to? Product, service, whatever it is. How do I hit that level of quality that makes you consistently competitive in that market? So when you think about quality, it's important to think about what the customers are looking for, what their requirements are. And in doing that, you should be able to have sustained competitive advantage in your marketplace. If you remain high quality, and I don't mean high quality product, I just mean high quality delivery, and you understand your customer requirements and hit those. That's all it is. I'm not saying it's easy, but that's what it is. So let's talk about that in context with scaling your business. Okay? So we'll jump into the questions. Okay. First question is from Ricardo Delgado. Ricardo asks, how does a business analyze where they can start improving and scaling? In simpler terms, how does a 100K business differ from a $1 million business? What mindset and traits are involved? I operate a barbershop and I'm a barber as well. How can I start analyzing where to start making more revenue and take action right away? So, Ricardo, you have the right word in there, analyze. Because if you have a concept, now a barbershop, okay, is really and this is not a negative, but it is really a pretty commoditized business model. Meaning there's only certain ways to cut hair. There's only certain people that will be willing to do it. And it's pretty well known in the industry sort of what the margins are, what the expectation is, so on and so forth. So you have a commoditized model. Now, the advantages of that when you're starting to look at scale is that there is probably a lot of research or a lot of information out there about what you should be looking for. Where do I make money? Do I make money on products? Probably on resale of some products like gel and other things or whatever. How much do I do? At what level do I do that? How much do I pay my barbers who I'm going to hire in? At what time do I bring my barbers in? Those are all the things that I'm sure there's research out there. There's a lot of salons and other areas that are franchises. I'm sure you can find some franchise research on like best practices and so on and so forth. But you're lucky in the sense of that you have an industry that's well known. So if you're going to add a flair to your industry as you're starting to scale, if you add something that's different in your space, great. Do that and hype that up. Like there's a couple barbershops or salons that did sort of the sports thing. I forget what they're called, but there's one near me here where I think it was mostly tailored toward guys, where they'd be playing all the sports games on every channel, and jerseys are hanging up, and all the mostly women actually who work there would speak about sports, would be interested in sports. That's a theme. That's a niche. That's attractive to a certain demographic. Probably guys like me, maybe you. But and I want to do that while I'm getting my haircut because that's cool and fun. So I don't know if you have something like that to do, but those are part of the things you need to analyze. And so if you have a certain niche or a certain approach, how much is that marketing cost, or how much does it cost to set that up? And what does that do for you? Does that attract 20% more customers because you're adding that piece? So if you have 100 customers in a month, does that attract 120? And if it attracts 120, how many barbers do you need for that 20 people? Well, for 20 people, probably not many. You probably don't need. But if it gets you, so that's the analysis you got to do. You got to think about, well, right now I need this many haircuts to get to 100,000. To get to 1 million, I need this many haircuts. How many barbers do I need to do that many haircuts? Knock off 15 or 20% for people not showing up, for people quitting, maybe even 25% for downtime, sick, vacation. Just knock off that time, even 25%, and just say, what do I need as far as barbers? And then look at what type of marketing you want to do and what type of expectation you have on customers coming in, and start to plan accordingly. And then you'll probably have to ramp up a little ahead of the actual people. So like, what is your break-even point? So at what point do what you're paying the barbers equal out to how many haircuts you need to do from a top line level to pay them? I don't know if you pay them on salary, if you pay them on per cut, what that is. But you have to think, like, if I'm going to maintain a full-time barber, how many cuts do I have to have for them so that they stick around, so they make enough of a living doing this? So, again, there's plenty of stats out there in your industry. So I would look at all that, put together a model, think through what are the customer requirements, which is what I was saying earlier, really like, what are my customers looking for? They want a fast haircut. Who am I going after? They want to hang out and talk about sports. They want good-looking women cutting their hair. They want men to do it fast and talk shop on whatever. I have no idea, but who's your customer base? So that hopefully that helps with some thought process. And always put it in at least minimally at first step a financial model, so you can see sort of the pressure points on some of those pieces. And then as you grow, you can start to look at more different types of measures. Okay? Hope that helps. Next question is from Yolindi Dugovea. What are creative ways on a limited budget to hire and compensate a salesperson, and where would you recommend finding that person? I need to employ a salesperson. What is the best way to pay them? Commission only, hourly with small commissions, or simply, or simply hourly with no commission if commission based? Then what percentage of the sales is acceptable or standard practice? We're a pillow manufacturer making decorative pillows and manufacturing pillow inserts. Elevator pitch. We're a mother-daughter team that designs and creates custom decorative throw pillows for home and business branding. Okay, awesome. So, Yolindi, I want to ask you, what is your market? Like, who are your customers? I'm a little confused here. Are your customers, you said you're a team that designs custom decorative throw pillows for home and business branding. So if you're doing it for branding purposes, so I'm assuming that's for business branding, okay? So then you're going after businesses for them to buy. So that would be direct to businesses for branding purposes, I guess, for, I don't know, some of their staff, or I'm not sure. But and then to homes. But then my question is, what is the channel to get you to that home? How do you get to that home? Is it direct to home? I would probably assume not. So is it through local boutiques? Is it through local retailers? Is it through Amazon? Like, what is your medium to get to those local buyers or end users for home versus businesses? So if the reason I ask is it's very important, because you're saying you want to bring on a salesperson. So I need to understand why you're bringing on a salesperson. Because to me, a salesperson would only be for two things. If you're selling wholesale, meaning to retailers to resell, or small boutiques, Or two, if you're selling directly to businesses, corporations in your area, and you need a salesperson to go around to those corporations and sell for you. And then I guess my third question is, why do you need a salesperson? Are you actually, if you're mother-daughter team, does that mean you're actually doing the pillows yourself? You personally? If that's the case, that's going to be difficult because when you're that small, you need to sell and not do the pillows. So I almost feel like it's better if the owner, you or your daughter, goes out and sells first, sees where the selling goes, because the owner selling always is better as a small business, and you get somebody else to make the pillows. You give them a process for them to make the pillows. And then you, down the road, when you're bigger, hire a salesperson. The only reason I'm hesitant there is because you have a lot of constraint issues there. What channels are we using? Salespeople are usually really, really rough to come by to get a good salesperson. It's just, especially in an industry like that with pillows, it's a hard thing to sell. I mean, there'll be a lot of boutiques that say, I have plenty of pillows. I didn't want to see it. Or corporations, what are you talking about? I buy pens for my people. It's just a very hard break-in, and it's not going to be extremely lucrative for a salesperson from a commission standpoint, at least in the beginning, because you're small. You're not a well-known brand. So I'm not trying to be super negative here, but it's very hard to hire a salesperson. And if you pay them too much base or like salary or hourly, you're going to just eat into your profits way too quickly on your sales to be able to scale, and you're going to run out of money. So, and if you're going to direct to homes, then use Amazon. Amazon bakes in a 15% fee on their sales that you're paying, but that's because you're using them as your sales agent. That's why they do that. Try that out. Pitch and throw some marketing around to at-home people in the area, particularly maybe mothers or women who, put some advertising out there for them to see your Amazon stuff. I just think it's a very hard lift to try to get a salesperson in that type of industry to sell until you're bigger and a little more well-known. But if you end up going down that route anyway, I mean, I would definitely go heavier commission versus salary, because they're going to milk you. The salesperson is going to milk you, and you want a hunter. You're going to have a hunter who goes out and really tries to get sales and can just sell ice to Eskimos. I mean, that's what you basically need. And if you can find that person and give them high commission to motivate them, they'll do it and they'll really try to sell for you. But the problem is, will they stick around before they get the commission? So it's very tough. But those would be my two thoughts. And generally, the way you want to think about it is, you don't want to go higher than 4 to 7% of sales or 15 to 20% of your gross profit. After all the materials and all the labor in your thing, don't go higher than 15 to 20% of what that gross margin is, or about 5% of sales on a commission model. I mean, you can go higher, a little higher on sales, but it really depends on a lot of factors. All right? Thanks. Bye. Next one. Next question is from Kristen Pitts. Kristen says, what is the fastest, easiest thing I can do to grow my business from the stage I am in today? I'm a wholesaler in the retail industry selling golf apparel. I am in my first year of business, launching this month. I am currently at $16K in gross sales. My biggest holdback in driving new business is my lack of cash flow to purchase product to sell. I'm currently using credit cards. My total credit limit is around $10K. Next year, I'd like to grow my business to at least $100 to $500K in gross sales. I'd really like to go after bigger retail fish, such as department stores, but I'm not sure how to secure a large order without cash to back it up. I am limiting myself to my credit limit. What are some immediate things you recommend I do in order to reach my goals? So, Kristen, very cool. Another industry that is very commoditized, like the former question of pillows. Again, I'm sure you can make some inroads because it's such a large market. But golf apparel there's so many golf apparel groups out there. So you have to figure out what they do that's most effective. And to get into retail stores, the retail stores are probably going to ask you for a few things. They're probably going to ask you, I mean, especially if they're going for a larger order, they're probably going to ask you for your financials. You don't have any, essentially, you just started. So that's off the list. That's going to be a problem. They might ask you for a hold, meaning they want to hold some, like a credit type of scenario. They might hold you out on payment, which you can't afford right now because you have to buy so much product if you get a big order. So, I think you have to slow build this. So you need to look at like getting a credit line from a bank. Now, any bank out there these days, they're so tight on credit due to the marketplace, but you could probably get 5, 10, or 15,000 maybe uncollateralized loan from a bank. You can use that on top of your credit cards to buy some more product, but I would slowly build on that. I would buy another 5,000, sell it the next month, then buy 7,000, sell it the next month, then buy 15,000, sell it the next month. And as you're building it up, you're repaying the line every time with your profits as it comes through. And then you go to the bank 4 months in and you say, look, I'm getting traction. Can you give me 50K in a line? And they go, oh yeah, sure. Now you use that to do the same thing, cycle up. Now you're buying 20K, 30K. I mean, that's how you use a line with a bank, but you need time in between. You're going to need 4 or 5 months in between before you can get a raise on that line because the bank wants to see traction. You can use credit lines that way. You could try to get more credit on your credit cards. You could get another credit card and try to use that as well. Those are ways to do it, but make sure you repay them every month. If you don't, you're essentially just using working capital. You're just taking money, washing it down the drain, not in a bad way, but to sort of build up, and then you have to wait for profit to repay that. If you're behind, not a good idea. Because if you have a hiccup a couple months, now you never catch it. It'll take you 6 months to catch up. So that's how you would use those vehicles to continue to grow. And like the pillow people I was speaking about, you should have something that differentiates you if you want to get into these different areas. Why your golf equipment or golf apparel versus others? What makes yours attractive? Is it branded? Is it unique in some way? Why would they want that to be in their space in front of other people that have space on their shelves? Even in small boutiques, maybe you go to country clubs and say, hey, maybe you want to try this out, in your space for a little bit. I'll give you a large chunk of the sale for the first 2 months, and something like that. So a larger chunk than normal to try to get inroads in those country clubs. Those are avenues to do your process. Thanks. Next question comes from Josh Cheramitaro. Josh says, what is the fastest easy thing to grow my business from the stage I'm today? Instify started in August and is currently projected to do less than 10,000 in annual sales. We currently only have John and myself on our team. We both have full-time jobs. We only have time right now on nights and weekends for the business. My current way of driving new business revenue is finding good product deals, ensuring the product has less than 100,000 90-day bestseller rank on Amazon. 2023, I'd like to grow my business to $1 million in sales. To accomplish that, what are some immediate things you recommend I do in order to reach that goal? And how would I transition from quitting my full-time job? So, Josh, what are you selling? So I'm not sure I understand what you're selling. So I like how you take it off Amazon. I just don't understand what you're selling. So, going from nothing, essentially, less than 10,000 in sales to $1 million is a ginormous leap. I would temper down your expectations there on sales. Maybe say 150,000, 200,000, 10 to 20 times your sales for the next year, and pull together a projection model of what you think that looks like. So, why do I think I can do it? How much do I need to buy? I think you're a buyer and reseller, if I'm getting you right. So what's my margin on the resale? And so how much of that product do I need to buy? Do I have the capital to buy it? How long can I wait? What's my carrying cost? Meaning, how long can I sit there with the product before I resell it, if I'm reading what you're doing? And how fast can I turn it? Turn is a very important metric in your scenario, because if you're buying stuff, reselling it, you want to know how fast it turns, because the faster your volume on turning, the quicker the cash flow, and then of course the quicker the sales that you can build up. So that's an important factor in your construct. And just back into it. How much capital do I need to purchase? How do I get to 200,000 next year? What do I need internally to support that? What advertising dollars do I need? So on and so forth. Pull it together and go for it, man. So next question is from Kristen Lander. What's the easiest and fastest thing I can do to grow my business? So I operate an online nutritional coaching business for strength athletes. I'm currently doing 110 in annual sales. 120, in annual sales. 120,000. And I have 4 coaches plus 1 administrative assistant on my team. My current way of driving new business revenue is through positioning myself as an authority in my niche via my podcast and social media. In 2023, I'd like to grow my business at least 50%. To accomplish that, what are some immediate things you could recommend in order I do to reach that goal? Kristen, that is an awesome, very realistic goal to grow 60,000 in sales in the next year. You could probably even beat that if you're already at 120. So I love your approach. You're very niched. You're a nutrition coaching business for strength athletes, so it's a specific market. You could tailor it to a specific market, meaning through your podcast and your social media. You could get some testimonials from some of those strength athletes. If you have any chance to get sort of a B or a C kind of celebrity, or somebody who's maybe known in your area, I mean, if they're known nationally, even better. That's just hard to get. But if you can get somebody who would promote your product, that's huge. That usually is how niche markets can really gain traction. Try to do that, even if you have to spend a little bit of your product royalty. I mean, it's a no-brainer, because additional sales should come from that. So if you got like a good B-level celebrity who would speak to your product and promote it on your social media, and maybe you give them 20% of your sale, 30% of your sale, you have to give them a good chunk, at least to get you to that next level of volume that you can then start doing organic growth outside of that celebrity if it's not exactly tied to them. That's an awesome way to continue to grow. And to be honest, I would almost give away the shop. Like, if you're making 50% gross margin on your product, and that pays your people and pays you, or more, maybe making more, 80%, and you got to give 50 or 60% of that away to the celebrity just for the next year. I mean, I see that as investment in your growth, investment in building what you're trying to do, rather than doing like other type of marketing or ads on social media. You're actually using an influencer outside of yourself. I mean, you're an influencer, but the question is, how much is your reach? So that's well worth it to get your brand out there and get your recognition. And then you start feeding off that, and you can cut it down. Or you can say, I can't give you royalties anymore, but I'll give you a chunk every month for your participation in my ads to the celebrity, something like that, as you build up volumes that you can afford it. That's something that sounds attractive to me. And also, obviously, is your inventory management. So you got to make sure that you have enough product on hand for some more sales that might come through, and that you have enough float, meaning enough cash flow, to absorb the ups and downs of that sales cycle. Look at credit opportunities with some banks for small credit lines and maybe some credit cards. Make sure to repay them every month or every couple months once the profits come through, and build out a projection model looking at what those cash flow items are. Just go by cash. How much do I need to get to this level? What does it look like? And love the niche scenario. Certainly, a good chunk of people in the wellness space doing this, but it's a very sought after market right now, and there's probably plenty of room for you to participate in there. So hopefully you can make some good inroads, and doubling, going up by 60,000 in 1 year is a very feasible goal. So I love it. Good luck with that. So that's going to conclude today. I hope that was helpful for everyone. Again, remember, think about your market, think about your competitive advantage, think about your niche, think about how you can build up enough cash or credit or resources to be able to, support the growth, and go get them, guys. Even through this recession, we need small companies like you guys out there, like me. I'm a small company, like all of us, so that we can keep this economy going, even in some of these rough times. So good job, everyone. Best of luck. And if I don't speak before the end of December, have a great new year. Happy holidays. And see you in January.